Right, fam. Good morning. Um, this is the promise video I made. I made a promise of making this video on how to make your entries at the Utad and at the spring. Right. This is Wyckoff now. Firstly, I want to appreciate my mentor, um, no other person than Pastor Ejimi Adekbeye. Though I have acquired trainings from several places, but I think and I believe that he was the first light that came my way. He will introduce me to Forex and held my hands and taught me several things, right? I want to appreciate his light in which he didn't just keep the light for himself. He allowed us to see light through his light. And for this, I'm really grateful to Pastor Jimmy Adekbeye. And I pray that the good Lord continue to uphold and bless him. Right. So let's go to this video. Right, I wouldn't make this so long. I just want to explain how I make Utad and spring entries using Wyckoff schematics, right? Wyckoff schematics. Right. So firstly, I want to say that the aim of Wyckoff, schematic is simply to, number one, maximize your profits. Number two, reduce your risk. And number three, to, the third importance of Wyckoff schematics. Let me just type it out. Number one is to maximize, right? That is effective to maximize the profits, right? The second reason why we do Wyckoff is for what? To reduce your risk. And number three, the third reason why you do this is for confirmation, right? Confirmation, or let's say trade confirmation or confluence, whatever we want to see it, right? Say confirmation, right? So those are the three reasons why we use Wyckoff schematics: to maximize your profits, to reduce your risk, and to have that confirmation, right? You don't want to buy a market in which you're not sure it's going to buy. You don't want to sell a market you're not sure it's going to sell, right? So what Wyckoff does, Wyckoff gives you that confirmation and say, right, okay, the market wants to buy, the market wants to sell, and all of that, right? You want to be trading towards where the market is going on the long term, right? So that being said, let's go to the business of the day. So how I make entries using the Wyckoff schematics. That is basically what I'm teaching you guys today. I'm teaching you guys today how I make entries using Wyckoff schematics. How I make entries using Wyckoff schematics. Right. So let's okay. Trying to see if it's going to load up the picture of this. Okay, right. So this is basically what a Wyckoff schematic will look like for an accumulation. I don't have the time to start drawing that out because that's not basically what I'm about to teach you. I'm not here to teach you how to label all those things. You can do that to research on your own. Part of what makes you a profitable trader is the ability to go and do your own research, right? You mustn't depend on someone for everything, right? So I'm not here to teach the labelings and all of that. You can go to I think is it some kind of school. I've forgotten the name of the school. They teach all of that. You can go there and learn it. How to do all these labelings, right? The BS, the SC, the AR, ST, and all of that, what they represent, and all of those things, right? So that's basically what you could do. Yeah, right. So what I'm looking for. So this is it. You have your PS, that's your preliminary support, secondary test, automatic rally, ST, and all of that. So our interest is making entries where at the spring. I want to make our entries at this spring, at this point here, this lowest point. As you can see, if you made your entry at this point here, you see that the market, you have had that massive risk to reward, right? So basically, these are the ways I trade record. I want to go straight to the points now, right? So basically, I say that the use of this is to maximize your profit, to reduce your risk, and for trade confirmation, right? You want to buy when the market is buying, and you want to sell when the market is selling, right? So now this is how I use it. Firstly, the first way I use Wyckoff schematic is that if I want to catch my entries at the Utad or at the spring, I wait for this to play out, right? So start wait for it to play out. So let's assume that we're having let me just use that example that I just saw now. The market trending downwards, giving us the PS, automatic rally, something like this, automatic rally. Let me go and check that again. Right, kind of okay. All right, PS automatic rally. Right. So basically, I want to see this occur. All right, those market give all those things, So market test automatically. It does something like this, It's not usually very perfect, right? You see the secondary test, and the market does something like this, Now takes out stop loss and then does this, does this, does this, does this, does this, and does this. So this becomes what your secondary sign of strength. When the market breaks this zone, this becomes a sign of strength. It breaks when it breaks this automatic rally position. This is where many people like entering, right? At the SOS. As you can see, this is the SOS. The people like entering at this point, SOS, but for us, we like managing our risk, right? And that's why we're targeting the spring or the Utad, right? So this is where many people are going to enter their trade. Now imagine that you enter your trade around that point, right? You know that usually the best place to put your stop loss would have been where below the lows. You have seen how much your stop loss would have been if you put your entry here, right? If you enter your buy here, right? Your stop loss should have been where below all these points. See how big it is. In fact, for you to get a 1:1, market has to move and move and move and move, right? So this is not really. But some people want to say, okay, this is a low. You must say, okay, let me take my stop loss here. Some people will say, okay, let me use a stop loss here. But the best place for this is the best stop loss is here at this particular low here. And that should be here. So you're having a large stop loss. That is why I devised the means of making my entry at the Utah at the spring, right? So now how do I make my entry at the spring? Firstly, I want to see the market forming some kind of equal low. And you're seeing a low being formed there. Let me make this reverse. It's not different, the same color. I want to see the market give us that strong to weak to strong hands transfer. I want to see the market take out a low, right? I want to see the market take out a low. I want to see the market take out this low, right? Take out this low and spring. Now, the first way to I get my entry at this spring is that number one, I use a supply zone. Sorry, demand, DNS, S and D zone, right? If I find a S and D zone or an order block, I know supply and demand are not the same in other blocks, right? If you want to know the difference, go to my previous videos and watch the difference between that. So I want to see my S and D zone. Let's assume that there was a kind of supply zone below, right? When all this was playing out, I had maybe there was a kind of supply zone down here, maybe some kind of order block at this point here. So I was waiting for this to play out, right? When I say the market's giving some kind of rejections at this point, where am I targeting? I'm targeting the order block, right? Let's assume there was an order block around here, another block below here. So I'm looking to enter this order block here, right? When the market is going to take out a tap the order block, mitigate the other block, and then go up. No, or if you have a supply or demand zone here, you want to see the market clear this low, give you that tap into the order block, right? So the first thing I use to make my Utah entries is an order block, right? An order block or a supply zone or a demand zone, which is above or below the area of interest. So when I see this schematics playing out, I'm seeing my PS, my secondary sellers climbers, automatic rally, secondary test, spring, all of that. I am targeting where the order block below, right? I'm targeting order block below for my entry because the market is going to do this. And now you don't just do this blindly. I want to point this out. I don't just trade Wyckoff blindly. You must have a higher point of interest. That means the higher time frame must be in confluence with what you're doing. That means if you're looking to buy, that means there's a buy setup maybe on the daily and all of that, right? Let's assume maybe on the daily time frame, right? On the daily time frame, we have something like this. I have something like this. About the daily time frame, the market forming some kind of low, right? So, sorry, I'm going to explain this thing. You don't just trade this alone. You must have a bigger point of interest, right? So market do this, does this, then takes out stop loss, and then you have that break of structure, right? So you have an area of interest. Right? Some people call this an area of interest. So you see that equal lows are taken out at this point here. At this point, you saw equal lows taken out. So you know this is a kind of institutional play, a foul play. So you're targeting to make an entry at this zone here. So when you see this, maybe it's your 4-hour or your daily time frame, right? Maybe on the 4-hour and daily, you see your break of social markets clearing this high, giving you the change of structure or the change of character, right? So you want to see the market come into here and then accumulate. You want to see this whole schematics playing out maybe on the 15 minutes, on the 1 minute, you know how it usually looks like. You come to give you a spring and then fire up, give you your sign of strength and all of that. So that is it. So you want to see this thing. This is just for interest. Wyckoff is for interest, right? You want to see this whole thing playing out in the daily point of interest. You don't just trade Wyckoff, you see Wyckoff anyway, just enter, you buy, you sell. No, that's not how to do it. Right? You want to see this thing play out at a bigger point of interest, at a zone of interest on the bigger time frame, on the daily, on the 4 hour, and all of that. Right? So that is basically what you do. You want to see this thing play out on the bigger time frame. Right? You want to see this thing play out inside a bigger point of interest. That is, this should be your daily, your 4 hour. Then you come to your 15 minutes time frame, 30 minutes, 1 minute to see this thing play out. Right? So you don't just trade Wyckoff blindly. You must see this thing in line with your bigger structural bias, right? I hope that makes sense to you. So back to what we are saying. So the first one I use my S&D zones to enter at the Utah or the spring. So this is where my interest is. I'm looking for that demand zone or supply zone. And the second way I enter with this, right? The second way I enter is I want to see the lower time frame change of character, right? Lower time frame change of character. So some people call it church. All right, so this is a course called the church. All right, lower time frame change of character. So we want to see that lower time frame change of character. That is the second way I get my Utah entries. All right, so lower time frame change of character. And what do I mean by that? It means that when the market must have cleared these lows, let's assume that this was maybe 2 hour time frame. Now on 1 minute or 50 or 5 minutes, I want to see when the market has done this, I want to see this play out. I want to see the market do something like this. After the second stop, I want to see the market clear what a high. Maybe on the 1 minute, you can come to your 1 minute inside this down move. Once the market give you that change of character, that means once you see the market do this low, high, low, high, low, break of structure. The way you see this, you know that all right, the spring may be ready to change direction. So what do? I now target where I wait for the market to give me a retest, right? So when I see that happen, I can now enter at the retest. Maybe this have a very subtle, right? You want to see this on the smallest time frame possible, if possible, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or all of that. So you have to be very careful. So market will do something like this inside this region, inside this spring region, right? Market does this, and then you can now buy at the retest. So you can target the last candle, last buy candle, 50% of this move, wherever I want to do. So you can target the 50% of this down move before the up move, or just target the last candle you can see on the 1 minute, on the 15 minutes time frame. This is how I make my entries using Wyckoff schematics, right? So I want to see if I can find this on a ray chart. I want to see if I can find this on a ray chart. So I think I saw this recently. Was it on step index? Okay, was it this 10 or something? Can't really remember the asset, but I hope you have gotten the point. I hope you get the point. So okay, I kind of mark this up. Wow, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. So all right, okay. So this was a very clear example of this, right? Look at this. Just look at this. Look at this. Look at this. We had what number one? We had a bearish trend. You have to go. You see our higher high, our higher low, our higher high. And then we have our break of structure. So this becomes our range, our last low, our last high. So we're looking for sell opportunities in this. So this is where I marked out that I kind of was looking at making an entry, right? So look at this. Look at this. A Wyckoff schematic played out here. So this was an area of interest. This was a kind of supply zone. You can see this was a point of interest on the bigger time frame, 1 hour. So you can see that this was a kind of supply zone or something, some kind of supply zone. So you can see that, right? So we saw on what. Look at Wyckoff playing out here. We always go to a similar time frame to see this thing play out. Right. This was how I got. I don't know if I got this trade, but I was looking at a perfect example, right? So this was where I marked out. So look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So you can see that you can see clearly Wyckoff schematics playing out. You can see your BC, your automatic rally. You can see your secondary test. You can see this dump, and then you can see your automatic rally, right? Automatic rally. This is your automatic rally. So this is your PSY, your BC, your all of that. So you can see the market took out those lows, it took out those highs, right? You can see market took out the highs clearly. This gave us what our Utad. So this was a clear example of a Utad. Right? You see your Utad, market give out stop. And now remember the rule. You want to see your order block, or what? Either order block for your entry, or your supply demand zone, or your change of character. So you can see if you look closely at this point, there was another block here. So you look at it, there was another block here. But this other block was quite large. So you can see there was another block all through this zone here. There was another block all through here. So this gave us the first confluence that we will be going for itself. So how do you have made this entry? You know, it's also a bit large. So look at this. And we can use our change of character. Look at this. So you can see that this high, this low Utad, and then look at the change of character. What am I change of character? The markets came and did what? It's cleared this low. I can see it came, gave a retest. And where is our retest? This supply zone. Can you see how this thing play out? So this was the supply zone. Supply zones are simply those weeks. Look at this was the supply zone this week. And you can see that after this week formed, look at this clearly. After this week formed, you see this massive sell. So this was a very valid supply zone. Take this trade off. So you can see that you would have gotten your entry here. Can you see this change of character and this? But this time frame is actually quite large. I'm going to look out for this on a smaller time frame. I think I've seen this play out on a smaller time frame. I'm looking for step index. I saw this thing play out on a very small time frame, and I what I want to use for the example. But I hope you have gotten the idea behind this. I hope you have gotten the idea behind this. It's actually very simple, very simple, very simple. Actually, very simple, right? So, okay, trying to see. Okay, I can see something here. Okay, look at this kind of Utad from the markets deliberately want to declare all these highs. You can see all these highs, all this liquidity was captured, right? You can see this market purposely did this. So how would we have gotten this trade using our Wyckoff knowledge, right? Okay, there was a kind of supply zone. First, you can see what I was telling you about this thing. Look at this, look at the kind of supply zone at this point here. You can see what I'm telling you, that you should target these supply zones above those equal lows or equal highs. If you look at equal lows there, look at supply zone just above it. What I was just explaining, look at the supply zone, market just tap into the supply zone. Supply zone is that look at this last area before the heavy sell. So that was a very valid supply zone. You can see the market gave all this tapped into here. You would have gotten yourself perfect like this one. And let's see if we have gotten a change of character. Let's go to 3 minutes time frame, all of that, to see if we have gotten a change of character, right? So using change of character, you must know that you're not interested in, wow, this was beautiful. So using a change of character, you just have to be very subtle. You have to be very subtle, right? Look at this. This is very beautiful. Look at this. So change of character, you're looking out for the immediate change of structure. That means all this are not a business. You want to see the market clear a low to give you a sell setup. Look at this now. So look at what the market did here. Look at this low. This was the last low. And you can see the market cleared it here. So you can see that this low was cleared. And you have your break of structure, a change of character, and then look at what happened after it gave a BOS. Look at what happened. That market formed some kind of supply zone here. What was the supply zone before? It was the kind of zone before this. You always look at for those zone before the moves, right? After this move, the market did this and then tapped back. Can you see how there was change of character? Market came into this zone again, tapped it, and you fell out the way. So you have seen you have made your entry using the knowledge of Wyckoff, using the knowledge of change of character at your point of interest, right? So this was very beautiful trade. This was very beautiful. This was very beautiful. Can you see you would have gotten it today? Some people have been waiting for the market to clear this low first, but using your change of character knowledge, Wyckoff, you have to look out for the immediate structure. And based on what I can see, you can see high, low, high, break of structure, or say change of character, supply zone, because the market dumped. I hope this video was helpful. If you want to have more of my content, go to Electron FS, my YouTube channel. I have more beautiful content, Electron FX. So let me type this out. So let's go to YouTube, type Electron FX, right? If you want to see more of my videos, Electron FX, right? And if you want to be part of my mentorship program, you could also be part of that, where we'll teach you a lot of stuff. It's a one-time payment, $60, and we enroll you how to trade like a pro. We don't use indicators, we don't use crosses and all of that. We use naked market structure. So Electron FX, our YouTube channel, you can join with the Telegram community with the link in the description. If you want to be part of the mentorship program, it's not compulsory, but if you want to change your trading, I paid a lot of training. Most of what I know are things I paid for, right? You don't get valuable information for free. That is a problem many traders have. They want to get everything for free. They want to get everything for free. They don't want to pay. They just want to know everything, right? So some of these informations are actually information you cannot share on YouTube, you cannot share in the general public, things that are private, right? If you want to have that information, you have to join our mentorship program where we can privately teach you all those things, right? So if you want a part of the mentorship program, just hit the link in the description, right? Hit the link in the description. Right, it's just $60 a one-time payment. You have a signature to help you to earn and all of that. So that's the last part of this video. Have a wonderful day. I hope this video helps. If it helps you, please drop a comment. If you have a question, drop it in the comment section, and we'll be more than willing to reply you. Right, have a wonderful day. Cheers and God bless.